Hey everyone, welcome back to the Borderline Man. One topic that is quite frequently brought to mind for me lately is loneliness and dating and so on, and this thing about how to, find a partner and so on. But I read just an article that just reminded me of a problem here. And that is the fact that men and women tend to be a bit different when it comes to communication skills. I'm not saying all men are bad at it and all women are good at it. Oh no. On the contrary. Oh my God. There's plenty of really crappy women at communication. But it is in general probably true that men suck at it more. And they don't really feel at ease with this world they are living in today. And I think this is one part of the problem. The other part of the problem is the hostile climate created in this animosity between the genders that is not helping at all. And especially, I think it is bad that you constantly address men and young men and boys, especially if you do this with people who happen to live in the Western world, are white, and I don't know, middle-aged like myself. We are considered privileged, and we are. Look at us globally, and we are the ones who in vast numbers are controlling things. You mean, just look at all these wealthy billionaires. They're all middle-aged white men. But the problem is, not everybody is. There's a huge chunk of middle-aged white men that both objectively don't live privileged and subjectively don't feel privileged. Let's address the objectively aren't privileged. It's the poor white people that live and exist in the world. They are numerous. I can't recall seeing plenty of wealthy people when I watch a documentary about the United States South and the Appalachians, West Virginia, Kentucky, all those mountain regions there. There's plenty of really poor white people there. If you ask them, do they feel privileged? The answer is going to be no. And if you tell them, hey, but if you compare it to this, woman living in India or Pakistan or something like that, or Afghani females being oppressed by Taliban and so on, you have the best opportunities in life. You are so privileged. And that is not going to go down well, that comment. Because you can't really tell a person who struggles. Objectively, they do. They don't have it easy. And subjectively, have lost hope, have problems seeing what the problem is, and just in general, life sucks. You can't tell people that you are privileged because there is this and that person living somewhere else that has it worse than you, or you belong to a group of people that are statistically privileged. That way of communication is derogatory. It is extraordinarily counterproductive. I think that communication, that label of saying that all white middle-aged men are privileged and have it easy, that sucks. That is horrible. And it serves no purpose other than to make someone else feel good for doing so, for being an asshole, basically. I mean, I don't really understand why it is even brought up. Because for those people, and they are millions, they are the bread and butter of plenty of the reason why someone like, the current ruling political system in United States exists. I mean, they are. Because they listen to this dude who they could easily, sympathize with. And they sure as hell couldn't sympathize with the other side, because the other side just kept on rambling about dumb hicks and rednecks and hillbillies and moronic people who don't understand how privileged they are and so on and so forth. That simply doesn't work. That is a rhetoric that doesn't work. And when I watch these documentaries from places where men are struggling really bad, white middle-aged men are struggling, I can't help to notice there's a plenty of mental health issues going on there as well, because those things always, come together. Sure, if we look at some statistics, they say that it doesn't exist in the third world. It doesn't exist in Afghanistan. No, not on paper, because, they don't have any system to catch it. And sure, happiness is this strange thing of being unable to fulfill your dreams, being unable to live up to other people's expectations. And happiness seems to come from this. So if you're born into poverty and nobody else tells you anything else, and this is the norm, and so on, you tend to deal with it probably, I'm guessing here, a little bit better than if there's a lot of expectations for you to succeed and everything is measured in this, like it is in the Americas. I mean, this is the country where success is measured in wealth. Sometimes even intelligence is measured in wealth, meaning that the most wealthy person is also considered to be the most intelligent person, which is objectively just really odd way of measuring intelligence. But hey, let's stick with that if you want to. But anyways, it's not comparable situations. It is harder for a person who have things and have lost it than to have never had it. It's an old saying, I can't remember it exactly, but you know what I mean. Objectively, there's not anything more pitiful about the person who have lost things and then, mourn this. But it is objectively probably a lot more difficult for this person to handle it than the person who never had wealth, who never had the expectations. Let's put it that way, because most of the people in the Appalachians, they don't have wealth. They have never had, but they have had a lot of expectations. They've lived in a society where, everything is possible. That is the American dream, isn't it? That is nothing you will ever hear, probably, in an Afghani village. That is, that creates, an happiness in itself. Blessed are the meek and so on, and that expression with people who don't really know what they are not missing, they are more likely to be less unhappy and so on. Unhappiness sure as hell derived from this. I think so. That said, of course, even a person born into misery is going to be unhappy. I'm just trying to point out that it's very difficult to say to someone who don't feel happy, who feel that they are without any probable hope and possibilities in life, where, there's just misery everywhere, to tell this person, oh, you're privileged. That is going to backfire. Can we please stop doing this? I've personally encountered a version of this, studying, as some of you know I do, going back to higher vocational education. I am actually going back to university also, but for now I'm doing administrative training. I've encountered a female teacher. She was older than me, and she asked kind of, what are you doing here? And so on. And I explained that it's not easy in today's world. I used to work as a copywriter, and I worked with communication, SEO and stuff like that. And I told her, well, it's not easy finding jobs today. And she just kind of dismissed this. Mainly because I was a middle-aged white man. I'm not possible for me to be unsuccessful. And that is a burden that I'm aware of. That's a burden I know. In my age bracket, among my peers, among my friends, I am the person who is least successful financially. Everybody else either had this really successful employment career, or they had their own business which is successful. I am, without comparison, the least successful person I know of in my age, actually. And that is a odd place to be in, and then hear that I belong to a privileged group all the time. That is all I hear. White middle-aged men rule the world. Yeah, probably true, but not all white men are privileged. It doesn't work like that. And it creates this sensation of animosity and anger. And you actually also stop caring about other people's problems. You struggle with relating to their issues. You struggle with caring. I mean, you become defensive. You become annoyed. And you start to get those feelings where, hey, you females, you have it easy, and so on. You start to, point out things where they have privileges and so on, which is just stupid to do. It's just childish. It's just moronic. But it's a natural instinct. And I consider myself as a fairly decently smart and wise and well-educated person. And if I can do this, I mean, come on. If I can end up feeling those animosity feelings towards this, what the hell is a uneducated hillbilly redneck going to do? I mean, this sounds arrogant, I know, but I mean, hey, they are dumber. They are. So if I struggle with these feelings sometimes, what are they going to do? What is a young man going to do who don't feel at home anywhere, who has struggled with identity and is told, oh, you're just privileged. Be happy you're not a female, and so on. If you constantly hear these things, you are going to feel angry. You are going to feel annoyed, and you are going to feel animosity towards the quote-unquote other side. So just stop doing this. It creates downward spiral of mental problems and issues and hate and animosity and all kinds of stupid things. It really does. There are statistical truths and then there are individual truths, and if you don't understand the importance of both of them, well, then you're just ignorant in just all kinds of different ways. I mean, there's not just one dumb, there are several types of dumb, and yeah, we all have one bracket where we are probably really dumb. So be humble and take care of people, and just, in general, understand that everybody has a struggle to go through. Take care, everyone.